I'm at the end of Scargill Walk in Eastwood, which doubles for Scargill Street, the fictional place in SONS&LOVERS, Lawrence's autobiographical novel of growing up in a Nottinghamshire mining town. And there's a wonderful passage which I've read often with students in schools in a few different places. And it's about the children of Scargill Street. The children of Scargill Street felt quite select. At the end where the Morells lived, there were not many young things, so the few were more united. Boys and girls played together, the girls joining in the fights and the rough games, the boys taking part in the dancing games, and rings and make-believe of the girls. Annie and Paul and Arthur loved the winter evenings when it was not wet. They stayed indoors till the colliers were all gone home, till it was thick dark, and the street would be deserted. Then they tied their scarves round their necks, for they scorned overcoats, as all the colliers' children did, and went out. The entry was very dark, and at the end the whole great night opened out in a hollow, with a little tangle of lights below where Minton Pit lay, and another far away opposite for Selby. The farthest tiny light seemed to stretch out the darkness forever. The children looked anxiously down the road at the one lamppost. And it's actually, whether it's not the original, but it's still there. You might be able to see it. Which stood at the end of the field path. If the little luminous space were deserted, the two boys felt genuine desolation. They stood with their hands in their pockets under the lamp, turning their backs on the night, quite miserable, watching the dark houses. Suddenly a pinafore under a short coat was seen, and a long-legged girl came flying up. "Where's Billy Pillins and your Annie and Eddie Dakin?" "I don't know." But it did not matter so much. There were three now. They set up a game round the lamppost till the others rushed up yelling. Then the play went fast and furious. There was only this one lamppost. Behind was the great scoop of darkness, as if all the night were there. In front, another wide, dark way opened over the hill brow. Occasionally, somebody came out of his way and went into the field down the path. In a dozen yards, the night had swallowed them. The children played on. They were brought exceedingly close together, owing to their isolation. And this is written probably almost 100 years ago now. And yeah, things are a bit different in Eastwood compared with Nottingham. I just bought a coffee in the town centre pub, the Lady Chatterley, and a double espresso cost me £1.25. In Nottingham it's going to be double there. If a quarrel took place, the whole play was spoiled. Arthur was very touchy, and Billy Pillins, really Phillips, was worse. Then Paul had to side with Arthur, and on Paul's side went Alice, while Billy Pillins always had Emmie Limb and Eddie Dakin to back him up. Then the six would fight, hate with a fury of hatred, and flee home in terror. Paul never forgot. After one of these fierce internecine fights, not often you find internecine in any kind of book, seeing a big red moon lift itself up slowly between the waste road over the hilltop, steadily like a great bird, and he thought of the Bible, that the moon should be turned to blood. And the next day he made haste to be friends with Billy Pillins, and then the wild, intense games went on again under the lamppost, surrounded by so much darkness. Mrs. Morell, going into her parlour, would hear the children singing away. "My shoes are made of Spanish leather, my socks are made of silk, I wear a ring on every finger, I wash myself in milk." They sounded so perfectly absorbed in their game as their voices came out of the night that they had the feel of wild creatures singing. It stirred the mother, and she understood when they came in at 8 o'clock, ruddy with brilliant eyes and quick, passionate speech. They all loved the Scargill Street house for its openness, the great scallop of the world it had in view. On summer evenings, the women would stand against the field fence gossiping, facing the west, watching the sunsets flare quickly out, till the Derbyshire hills ridged across the crimson far away, like the black crest of an Ute.